Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I woke up feeling really anxious. I guess that's the label I would give that feeling. But for me, these days, I would just say I had a really off feeling. Really surprisingly, I had slept well, which is not normally the case when I've got something on my mind. But the reason I woke up feeling, well, we'll go on to the real reason, but in the moment when I woke up feeling anxious, feeling upset, feeling just like really tense in my body was because yet again, the woman who is the mother of my fiance's child had been late night messaging us unpleasantries and accusations. I've been with him 7.5 years this week, actually, and that has been an ongoing situation. And I have repeatedly over this time, I have seen over and over again more recently that I have got myself, is the best way to describe it. I've got myself upset. I've become quite uncomfortable, very riled up. And this morning was no different. So I got up. It took me a while to get up. It kind of came with a low mood as well. I kind of, here we go again with this nonsense kind of thing. And so I dragged myself out of bed. It felt a bit like that. Felt like I was dragging myself out of bed. And I went downstairs and did some exercise. I do exercise every morning, but this morning it was a bit more like, well, this will shake it off then, won't it? And all the way through, I had moments, lots of moments during my exercise when I just forgot about it and carried on. And then it kept popping back into my head and brought, then I felt awful again. And then I came upstairs and I needed to wake Bruce up because he had to get off early this morning and I don't think he'd set an alarm. So I woke him up and him and I started talking a bit about it. And as I was talking, I just, all the way through my exercise, really, I just started to think, Bruce and I need to just look after ourselves now. And me in particular, I need to look after myself. Because I am beating myself up internally by thinking about this woman and her behaviour. And I've been doing it for 7.5 years. I'll be honest, I'm doing it a lot less now than I was at the beginning. It is getting less. It lasts a shorter time. But I really had another level of realisation this morning. And that's why I'm sharing it with you, really, that I can carry on. Like I really get a sense that that's not good for me. On a physiological level, it is not good for me to get that riled up, to go over. And the kind of thinking that I was having was, is she ever going to stop doing this? How on earth has she created the perspective that she's got on this situation? Because it's fundamentally the opposite of ours. Some anger around her idea that she's doing us a favour by letting us see, doing Bruce a favour by letting him see his child, which, that kind of stuff really does get my, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. And bearing in mind, he's done nothing wrong, really. He's a fabulous dad. And also that it's not for him, it's for the child, isn't it? It's never for the adults. It's not for the adults. The child is the most important thing. And then, I just started to see that I can be okay, like, while she carries on doing the things she's doing. The final message she sent said something like that we had stressed her out. Over the last few years, we had created a lot of stress for her. And she doesn't have the inside out understanding because even when I'm in the thick of it, I know I'm creating it. I really do. Intellectually, I know it at that point. So the next thing was that as I made that decision to stop, like literally it is like, I now know that this is what's giving me a headache. It's in that moment of realization, I am creating that suffering for myself. If I carry on that train of thought, I'm going to suffer. If I literally stop thinking about her there and this situation, I won't experience that. And it reminded me of there's a fabulous video that's worth looking up on YouTube. If you search for Bob Newhart's £5 counselling or counselling session or something like that, you'll find it. And he, I'll leave you to watch it, but it basically is pointing in the same direction, that once we realize that the train of thought is what's creating the suffering, it makes sense to stop. Now, don't ask me, well, do ask me, obviously, but it seems to me that the process by which that happens is to involve ourselves in this conversation about how life really works, that our feelings are a manifestation, a shadow of our thinking. If our thinking is happy, we will feel happy. If our thinking is anxious or angry or upset, like mine was this morning, we will feel that horrible feeling in our bodies. And when we realize that we reach a point of choice. And I think it's probably really one of the only points of choice we have. It's almost like a refocusing of our attention, because the thoughts kind of carried on coming in. They were still there, but I just stopped being bothered by them so much. I stopped engaging with them. I stopped adding more fuel to the fire. They were still popping in. How very dare she? Shouldn't be doing that, blah, blah, all of that, whatever it was, still was popping in. But the energy that it had then was just a lot less. And I was therefore free is the word that comes to mind. We will carry on creating suffering for ourselves while ever we don't realize this, because it isn't the outside world. She can be doing the craziest things, and she has done some extremely strange and bemusing things over the last 7.5 years that most people, I think, would say, gosh, that's really not nice, or it's not, it's a bit strange. So I think then as I settled down then, and I began to feel calmer, as I began to just let it go, it felt like the best kind of self-care. And that's how I really saw it in the moment. I just thought, I can carry on hurting myself here, or I can stop. And I feel like I just want to look after myself now. Because if I look after myself, everything else in life will work out. I've got to look after myself. I've got to make sure I'm in a good place. And actually, that's the only thing I can do. I have this moment of choice to focus on crappy thinking that's going to make me feel crappy or not. And more it makes sense to not do that, to let it go, to let it pass. And as I calmed down, as I became more settled, a response to the messages emerged. And it was just we're really sorry you feel that way. Love, Claire and Bruce. That's it. Because I do feel sorry that she feels that way. I do feel compassion for a woman who is not in a good place right now. Has a perception that we've made her feel stressed. And I've been in that place of suffering. This morning, I was in that place of suffering, thinking that she was creating that horrible feeling for me. She's still there. So I can only feel compassion for her now, because it's a blooming awful place to be. I was there for a lot of years. Like, it's not just this morning. I was there for a long time. A long time, where I really thought the outside world was creating my experience. And it's there's no freedom there, is there? None at all. So now I can only feel really compassionate for her, in the same way that I feel compassion for all the people who come and speak to me about this kind of thing, who are struggling like that. You know, once you know this, you are free. And when you don't know it, you're not free. You know, you're going to be in a place of trying to control things to make yourself feel okay, including people, and goodness knows, are they the most uncontrollable thing on the planet? So I thought that personal story might be helpful. I know we all have people in our lives who are difficult, or appear to be difficult, perhaps. And I hope this is helpful for you to find some peace and freedom from that. So lots of love. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.